Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Nasser Deeb. I'm the show director of Halal Expo Canada 2021. And today we are hosting Mr. Omar Subedar, the CEO of Halal Monitoring Authority. And he is also an imam as well. And I wanted, before I start the questions and diving into so many topics, I wanted to know myself basically, because I'm still learning about the certification of halal and how things are moving into such a great and fast moving industry here in Canada and North America in general. Uh, First, Sheikh Omar, I know you personally over the years since we've been working in Halal Expo Canada, and you've been a great supporter from the start. I remember when I first approached you, you asked me the tough questions, and you wanted to make sure that we're doing something great, and I passed the test, I think. But I want also the people who I know you're a famous guy. I know everybody knows Sheikh Omar, but some people they might not know Sheikh Omar, and they might also from the international uh, they might not know who's Sheikh Omar. So I wanted you just to give us a bit of a glimpse of Omar Subedar as a person and how he ended up leading a very important certification program in Canada. And this is what I would like to hear from you.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to yourself, to the team, and to everyone that's viewing. And I want to express my gratitude to everyone for taking out the time to be with us today. I'm so excited to be right now with you, Brother Nasir. And in respect to your question, well, there's not much to really know about my life. I mean, just a regular guy, just trying to make a contribution to society. I mean, basically, I'm a theologian by trade. And when it comes to halal, it's something that I was pulled into. It wasn't something that I was pursuing. I didn't have any expertise in the food industry because that's the main focus of halal certification. And it's something that something was brought to our attention after we had formed the Jamiat Ulama, the Canadian Council of Muslim Theologians, back in 2002. People from the industry were telling us that there's malpractices going on. You, as the ulama, should be doing something about it. And then that just led one thing to another, from an investigation to understand what really is going on in the market, to try and figure out what the action plan is once we actually had firsthand exposure as to what's really going on, and then starting in alternative service. So there's not much that we can do because it's not our line of expertise. So we started up this alternative service where we're trying to do something for the sake of the community by providing something that is in conformity with guidelines which are non-controversial. And then it just snowballed from there. Now here we are, almost 18 years later. We started back in 2004, these efforts. The HMA started in 2006. Here we are now in 2020. So yeah, it's been quite a bit of a journey. It's not something I pursued. It was something I was dragged into.
That's interesting. So it wasn't something that part of your career path, but it just happened that by coincidence you got into the right. It was the right time in the right place, and it happened. Mashallah, it's been a very much growing in the last few years. And I came into the industry because as you know, I'm an organizer of trade shows, and uh, I always wanted to have that halal platform. And since I'm an organizer of other shows, I wanted to get into that. And the same thing that what get me to the industry. And I'm learning so much about it as I go. I mean, yes, alhamdulillah, I'm a Muslim, but to know the halal and the standards, it's not enough just to be a Muslim. You have to know exactly what you're doing, right? Like you have to have a background, the study, the academic, the research, the training, the proper training, I would believe, right? So
That goes
I
for
wanted
every field in life, right?
yeah,
That goes for every single field in life.
yes.
And I mean, if I had life my way right now, halal certification would be the top of the things that I'd want to do. As you know, I do have two institutions. I am a publisher as well. I'm an author. That's where my passion is. My passion is really writing books, researching Quran and Hadith, and trying to put out material out there for the Anglophonic Muslims. But here we are, dedicating most of our time to halal and serving the ummah on this platform. But like you said, you need research and the know-how in every field of life. It doesn't matter. I'm born Muslim. That doesn't mean I'm born with a PhD in Islam, right?
Correct, correct. And that's what a lot of people undermine the halal as a science or as a field. They think that, oh, what is the big deal? You know, as long as you slaughter or whatever. That's there are so many rules. I'm learning as I go. Actually, it's a lot of. I didn't realize how deep it is and how you know, comprehensive it is as a field. And
Yeah.
it goes beyond just the food, as we witness in our show. I've seen so many different products and different services that is falls under the halal ecosystem and halal lifestyle. Before I wanted to started to pick your brains a little bit, and we will have also after we ask a few questions and discuss a few ideas and few things here, we're gonna have a Q&A session. We have alhamdulillah an overwhelming participation from not only from Canada, not even North America, but internationally. And a lot of people who are interested to know what's happening in Canada, because they see it in the radar as a growing market and a fast growing. And that's the reason why we decided, as you remember, to launch the show, because it's the right time for it to be uh, put in a platform that is B2B and a much more trade element into it. So I wanted to ask you the first question. Why is halal certification needed in the world? Let's take it from the world perspective before we get into the Canadian perspective.
Well, that word needed, I think that's something that we could debate. Uh, and from Canada's perspective, it is required after 2016 because of the CFIA regulation that anyone that's going to claim their halal, they must be backed by a certifier. So that's why here in Canada, it's needed. Um, but when it comes to other places in the world, they have their other dynamics, they have their unique challenges. But in essence, halal certification is a point of reference for the customer, right? It's very easy for a person to go and claim that they're halal, but then when it comes to backing up that claim, what are they going to back it up with? Right? I'll like give you an example. I was in downtown Toronto back in the days when there was no such thing as HMA. I went to pray in a masjid, and across the road there's a nice restaurant. Myself and a colleague of mine decided, let's go get something to eat. It's halal. But by that time, I had a brief idea of how things work behind the scenes, but obviously I didn't have the level of depth that now we've developed. So we went and asked the person that was behind the counter that we know this is halal, but could you just kindly share what sources are basically providing your outlets, like where you're sourcing your stuff from? And the individual would not answer. The person then became somewhat uncomfortable with the conversation and basically is now looking at us as a nuisance and told us, brother, it's halal. There's no need for you to question further. And I felt, no, there is a need to question further because I don't have the confidence based on what I know that goes on behind this industry. So don't take it offense. Don't become offended by this. It's for my personal satisfaction. So again, what I want to come back to, it's a point of reference for those people that need the confidence, right? And they need to know exactly how things have transpired before they go and make the purchase and bring that on their plate when we're talking a food item, because the most powerful customer is an informed customer. And that's what really the certification service is about, like informing them that this is the process behind making that product for you halal.
And that's what we need as a consumer, as a Muslim consumer here in Canada, is the transparency and the clarity on things. Because as you mentioned, I cannot share the same experience, but I even back in the days, I lived in the US, and as you say, we just go in and to a Middle Eastern or Asian place, and we find that it's halal. But it wasn't a thing. It wasn't something that, as you just mentioned, it wasn't required by the government. And now, if you want to put the word halal, you cannot just put it there. You have to be actually show the proof. And I think you mentioned to me before that there'll be a government inspector that will inspect and ask you, can you furnish us with your halal certification? Am I correct?
Well, basically now you can complain to the CFIA if a person is not holding the certificate. CFIA, from our experience, has taken some mild steps to reform. I'm sure they can do a lot more going forward. But yeah, as per the regulation, they are going to have to furnish themselves with a certificate. Now, which certificate? That's completely the vendor's choice. But I think for the customer, they're going to be more comfortable with a certification that's giving them straight answers, right? Not beating around the bush, giving them straight answers. This is the way it is, and this is the way it's done.
Exactly, and that's and I guess we are blessed nowadays, but it's not enough. We still have to do more, well, more efforts to make sure that everything that we eat or we use or we consume, it should be halal certified in a way that we know it and the way that it's supposed to be right. Um, I also wanted to ask you, how would you determine the standard of halal? Like a lot of people use different ways. That some people say it has to be hand slaughtered. It has to be, and it also depends if it's food or if it's vitamins or if there are so many areas. How would we determine first as a business owners who supply halal products or services, or as a consumer? Let's take it from two sections.
Well, first and foremost, it's going to go down to the certifier, what their standards are, right? And how they're determining the standard. And then they're going to share that standard with both the consumer and the vendor, right? And it's now for the vendor and the consumer to decide what is best for their iman, what is best for their faith and their relationship with Allah, because this is not a business only. Yes, there's a business element to it, but in essence, this is a matter of maintaining a healthy relationship with your creator, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now when it comes to those standards, that's first and foremost going to be dictated by the certifier. Now, which reference points the certifier is using, that's going to be varying from individual to individual. It's going to vary from organization to organization. So I'm in no position right now to speak on other people's behalf, but I can speak on behalf of the HMA. When it comes to the HMA, because it is a body of ulama, right? We have 150 ulama membership within this organization, the CCMT. HMA is only a department of the CCMT, the Canadian Council of Muslim Theologians. When it came to determining what the standards are, we know that within our Sharia, there are different opinions, views. There's a lot of flexibility in different areas. So the one thing that we used as a guiding principle was that what is the least or the non-controversial areas, what in every point. So if you say, for example, hand slaughter versus machine slaughter, which a lot of the consumer base still needs to be educated over because people don't know what that term really entails, but that's a different topic. When it comes to identifying an area of the industry, it's important for us, as least the HMA, to try and find out which standard is going to accommodate every Muslim's needs. Why is that? Because in Canada, we live in a cosmopolitan, a multicultural type of society. It's not like back in the East where we come from, places that have a fixed template, right? You're either this type of Muslim or that type of Muslim, and the entire community is pretty much following the same standard, right? Especially in the smaller areas like towns, villages, and so forth. But here, we don't have fixed templates. And we have Muslims from every background conceivable coming here. And therefore, you can't be fixed up. No, it's only going to be this madhab or that madhab, this methodology, that methodology. You got to be all accommodating. And so using that principle, we came up with the standards that wherever people are not going to feel uncomfortable, that's the standard we are going to apply. So a simple thing like you just brought up, hand slaughter, machine slaughter. There are people that legitimately have concerns about machine slaughter, but there's no one that's going to have an issue with hand slaughter. So therefore, we as the HMA are going to adopt that as a standard because everyone now is comfortable with it, right? So that's pretty much our guiding principle when we're confronting ikhtilaf in different areas of the industry. The other thing is, now we know that the industry is evolving. Look, we're in industry 4.0. You can't continue catering for industry 2.0. I mean, that was the past. You have to live with the times. And there's constant changes that are going on, which demands from us continuous research and trying to find that way to which we can continue to serve a Muslim minority community in North America, particularly Canada. We're only 1.5 million here. We're not a big number. So because we are basically a minority, we're going to definitely have to do a lot of homework and find ways that we can continue to serve this growing population without any obstacles and hindrances.
That's interesting. That's a great way to put it. And I think as you said, we need to make sure that we're very precise and very accurate on how we measure which one is halal and which one, and the standards has to be helpfully unified. And that's the main objective, that everybody will adapt into one standard that works for the halal certification in Canada. So that way there will be no many questions or many doubts from either business or consumer, in both perspective.
And it makes it easy. It makes it easy for the vendor. It makes it easy for the consumer. That here you have a non-controversial standard that was applied in the certification. So therefore, I don't need to feel worried. I don't need to question twice that does this fit the standard that I conform to or not. So by going down the route of a non-controversial principle, then it just makes life easy for everyone.
That's a good point. And also, I remember you've been talking to some scholars and imams, uh, and hopefully this will materialize soon, about unifying your efforts under one umbrella. And that's something that I think you guys still doing some work on with Dr. Salimi and other imams from the different part of Canada. And I'm sure hopefully that will. I'm sure you guys are working on that as we speak. Am I correct?
That's correct. The efforts are ongoing, alhamdulillah. We have great ulama that are putting a lot of time, energy, and effort. May Allah reward them. And inshallah, something will materialize very soon. We just request your du'as, inshallah.
Inshallah, ya Rabbi, inshallah. I just wanted to see, because we have a different kind of like halal lifestyle is consists of different areas. You have the food, you have the vitamins, you have the cosmetics, and then you have so many areas, and then your finance and investment and so on, and even fashion. Uh, we consider that as a halal living, a halal, the way we should as a Muslim live, regardless where we are, if we are in the East or in the West, we should maintain our principles of our teaching. And that's what we want to touch upon. So how, as a certifier, or let's put it that way, as a certifier, do you certify food, and I think cosmetics and vitamins? What else? Any other areas that you approve, like you endorse, that it's permissible for a Canadian Muslim to utilize?
Yeah. So, look, the bulk of certification is focused on food, right? That's
Okay.
the bulk. It doesn't matter which certifier you're dealing with. That's the bulk.
Okay.
Now, whether it's going to be CPGs or whether it's going to be meat, that's going to vary, but that's the bulk. Now, when it comes to other areas of the industry, they're still in the pioneer phase. Fashion is not something that is actively seeking certification at the moment.
Mhm.
It's a growing thing. It's right now in the beginning phase. It's going forward. Things may materialize, but it's not at that level yet. Pharmaceuticals is only starting to tap into this, right? Yeah, you're going to have a few companies here and there, and like vaccines and so forth, like we've done meningitis in the past. They're going to tap into certification when needed, but it's not something that they're actively seeking. Yeah, we are getting quite a few things from like materials, like chemicals, oils. We're getting just recently we're getting a thing, an application for gloves. I didn't even know that people want certification for this. But then after understanding what the philosophy was behind this, it was okay, it makes somewhat sense. So what I'm going to say is, like, in the other areas of halal living, halal certification is not a big thing at the moment. Going forward, it may become, but the bulk of certification is focused on food, because that's the area where people they feel the most, how can I say, they feel uh, the most in doubt that is this something I can have or I should not have. Whereas clothing, you can go ahead and choose for yourself, right? Does this suit me? Does this not suit me? Is it something that is going to maintain my relationship with Allah or going to break my relationship with Allah? I don't need really someone else to tell me, yeah, this is okay for you, because people don't have that level of doubt and questioning in clothing as they do with food manufacturing. Uh, and when it comes to pharmaceuticals, again, pretty much people just take whatever the doctor has prescribed. The only thing that I've seen people raising a concern over, which is a legitimate concern, is when it comes to capsules and it's gelatin based, right? That's
Yes.
the biggest thing that people really talk about. But beyond that, although when it comes to the ingredients, definitely it's something that should be looked into, but people don't exercise that same level of caution in pharmaceuticals as they do with food items. And you have to understand that certification is demand driven. If it's demanded by the customer, the industry is going to seek it. It's not something that's going to be dictated by the certifier, because the business is not going to see any value in your service if they don't have a customer base that's asking for it. Why do I need to pay this extra money? Okay. Or is there a particular type of market share that you're now going to think secure for us and bring to us? Again, you have to think from a business perspective, right? So is the value of halal certification in other areas of the industry as big as it is in the food industry? At the moment, no. It's still yet to go into those areas. And it's already there, but in a very small way at the moment.
Okay, I understand. I think, and also as you mentioned in the food, I mean, I remember we talked about this, and I also met a company that specializes in the packaging of food processing, and even that company that packages
Yeah.
have to be certified. And to me, as new to this business, uh, I was like, packaging has to be the way it's the materials is used for the packaging.
The coating that's used,
Sorry.
the coating that's used on the
Yes,
plastic.
yeah.
Right? There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on. Yeah.
And I think when you do, like, for example, I know that you are certified of Maple Leaf and other big names here. Uh, uh, so when you do, I think it's a long process. You have to start from the beginning uh, until till it's packed and delivered, and you have to monitor every
Pretty
step.
much, yeah. Pretty much, yeah. You got
That's-
to make sure that there's compliance. First and foremost, it's a matter of clearly communicating what the standards are. After that, it's the implementation. And then following that, it just becomes like autopilot. People just need clarity. They just need to know what you need to do. You can't be changing your story today and tomorrow. It's got to be something that's uniform. So the moment that's been clearly communicated, people know what to do, life becomes easy, right? But so, and then the monitoring for the compliance does not become as rigid as it would be in the beginning to ensure that compliance standards are there.
and you
Okay,
don't
that
just you don't just rely on a local resources. I think I remember, because I traveled with you guys to Malaysia and other places. You actually work with a Islamic country that have a much bigger scope of standardization, and I remember you mentioned to me that you train your staff regularly on and send them to different countries to learn about your how, because sometimes you need to learn how they do it in the source, like where they're like Islamic, like Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, all these big
of course.
Muslim
I mean,
population.
it's trying to get the best practices from the world, right?
Yeah,
We are part of the World Halal Council, the WHC,
yeah,
and we actively seek partnerships throughout the world, like we've done with New Zealand, Thailand, Malaysia, South Africa, England. We're actively seeking those partnerships, and there's a lot of information sharing. And we send people there. People come here. We've had delegations from Thailand. We've had delegations from the Philippines in the past coming here to learn what we're doing. So
interesting.
it's a lot of information sharing that goes on. And our goal is basically trying to get the best practices from all these other organizations, implement them here. And if we can share something to others, then why not, and be of benefit?
That's interesting. I mean, I know I traveled also to Thailand. I was invited by the Business Council of Bangkok, and I was amazed that there's a big community of Muslims from Thailand, and they're like 15 million, if not more. I've been to Philippines, same thing. They're growing. Everybody's growing that halal standard certification for not only for Muslim countries, actually for more non-Muslim countries like Canada and others. And I think I see the trend going bigger and bigger in the years to come. The other question I wanted to ask you, I think we're running we've taken, it's a great information. I think we cannot cover the whole scope in one webinar. We need multi-webinars. It's amazing information. I'm actually learning a lot from it. I wanted to know also from you, Sheikh Omar, um, I mean, you mentioned most of it, that what makes HMA different and unique when it comes to certification. I think you already mentioned that, how you guys go about it and how you make sure that all the standards are met, from research to overseas collaboration with, and continuously checking all your all the.
Well, the key thing is monitoring, right? Having a person physically on site and making sure that everything from beginning to end is in compliance.
So HMA person will be on the processing.
On site, yeah. It's not just a random check. It's not just will come anytime. No, we're there. If this production is designated to be HMA certified, then it's going to be overlooked, or I should say, it's going to be watched and monitored by one of our designated inspectors, and basically will be produced then. So that's the big point of difference, having someone on site
to actually monitor the actual process. Okay, another thing is I'm always been asked about, because as you know, we do attract international manufacturer and sales providers from other countries like Malaysia, Turkey, and Indonesia. You've seen some few when you were at the show last time, and we're gonna get more helpful, inshallah, with the next edition. They always ask me a question. Say, I am halal certified from Turkey, I'm halal certified from Malaysia, but I haven't yet certified my products in in Canada. Will be the same process? Will you or will you accept part of it and the rest you'll ask other question? How would you go about for somebody who's international manufacturers?
Well, the thing is that first and foremost, what is going to be the objective of getting certification for that manufacturer?
He wants to export. Yeah. He wants to export it.
Yeah. So basically, what is, again, as I said in the beginning, certification is a point of reference, right? So now what happens is, if this manufacturer is going to come into Canada with their product backed by a certifier that nobody's ever heard of, they're going to get more questions than answer. They're going to get more questions. And the thing is that that when you have someone that's questioning you despite having certification, it defeats the purpose of certification, right? So then the logical thing to do is to align yourself with a body locally here that people recognize, that yes, this particular body has recognized this foreign product that has come in, and as a result, we, the consumer, are comfortable. So now if that the manufacturer decides to go ahead and align themselves with the HMA's thing is that we already have international partnerships. If they are certified by one of our partners, then it's something that we will endorse. We're not going to question it because we have MOUs, right? We have MOUs with Fians in New Zealand, with Sanha in South Africa, with Seacot in Thailand, and with Jakim in Malaysia, Hafsa in America, and this goes on. So you can see the complete list on our website. So the thing is that if they are certified by them, we will readily endorse it and help market the product within the Canadian.
But they still have to apply to you to get registered in Canada and get the endorsement stamp on their products from HMA.
Well, it wouldn't even need to be stamped. I mean, if they want the HMA stamp, that's fine. We'd work something out. But the thing is that that stamp that they have of Sanha or Fians or whatever, Jakim, it's something that we would also put in front of the customer and tell them that this is something you can rely on, okay? Because these are our partners. So it's we want to try and make it cost effective. Look, they're already paying for certification there. Then they have to come here and pay more. That's not viable. It's not feasible. So, and with us, the HMA, we're not a business. We're basically service driven. We're a non-for-profit organization. If we can help the agenda of advancing halal, which is basically the I wouldn't even say the advice, it was the dictate that was given to us by our late chairman, Sheikh Yusuf Patel, rahimahullah, who passed on 3 years ago. He said to us, point blank in our face, he said, make halal easy and accessible. Don't make halal unnecessarily difficult. And he told us point blank in our face. And that's basically the thing that we're trying to work by.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
So,
Thank you so
inshallah.
much. I just wanted to also ask you, uh, you know, let's touch upon the Halal Expo Canada. I'm sorry, we got you a bit tired, Sheikh. Bear with us, we're almost done.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay,
I'm coming from a 2-hour meeting and I've just jumped into this. So
I know.
okay.
You're a busy guy, and now because you were traveling, you came back, and now you out of now you finished the 2 weeks because every time you travel, you have
Out
to
of quarantine, out of jail.
out of jail. Alhamdulillah, I see your face is really relaxed now. You can at least meet some people. Anyway, so what happens is. I know we've been talking about Halal Expo, and you've been very good support from supporting and sponsorship, and a big believer of this platform. Uh, we got, as you know, we are preparing for the next edition. We are unfortunate because of the COVID-19, we had to cancel the 2020. But we are very, as you know, we are haven't stopped there. We've been actively working locally and internationally with our partners and yourself. And we talked about how you want to uh, improve or develop further into your participation and involvement in Halal Expo. So, what is your plan? I know that we talked about the idea of having the first pavilion of Canada under HMA, Halal Canada. So, tell us a bit what is the plan on that, and what are you trying to achieve on that?
Well, with the Halal Pavilion, now basically we're trying to promote in front of the international vendors what Canada has got to offer, right? And it's really now on this platform, it's trying to advance Canadian halal, and hopefully, with the certification backing them as well, uh, the international people that will be participating will take more interest in these vendors and take their products abroad and open up international markets. We want to see the Canadian halal industry succeed. And it's always been, we've spoken about this before. Why can't Canada become a leader in halal? We've got so much potential here, so much potential. We can lead the world in halal. So I think I see the Halal Expo as a springboard to try and achieve that. I really truly believe in my heart of hearts that this is something that's well accomplishable because of the talent that we have here, right? The different types of mindsets that we have here, put them all together. You're a force, globally speaking, that's got to be reckoned with. So I really feel that by continuing to advance this, we are going to advance the Canadian halal industry. We will grow. And one day, inshallah, that dream is going to materialize where we will be dictating what the industry looks like, inshallah.
And at the end of the day, it's a common goal that we're trying to achieve. And I think we've been blessed as organizers to be working with people like yourself and Dr. Salimi and other scholars and business partners in this industry. Even the large group of companies like Maple Leaf has supported us from the start with their brand Mina Halal, and other companies as well, Maple Lodge and others, etc. So there are so many people believe in the idea because they wanted the halal to be elevated and raise the standard, raise the bar, to make sure that it's not just something that can be taken lightly. It's a very important industry. As you know, in the food alone, it's $1.3 trillion. It's growing like crazy in every area, from tourism to etc., to food, to cosmetics and fashion. So this is amazing. And I know that you have something on the pipeline that you don't want to disclose now, but I know that HMA is working on something going to be inclusive, I would say. I will give only keywords. I don't want to give, I know you know what
Well,
to talk about it.
we're going to use the Halal Expo as the launch pad, inshallah.
Perfect.
I
So we
will
have to
just say
wait.
this much, that HMA has officially changed its direction. I can just say this much. I can't give all the details right now, but HMA has changed its direction officially. We are not going to remain a halal certifier anymore. We are now going to be a halal solutions provider, a 360 halal solutions provider. which means that we go into any business and from A to Z, every single halal need we can take care of. How we're going to accomplish that, I will tell you at the Halal
Stay
Expo.
tuned.
So make sure you're there. We're going to launch it at the Halal
Inshallah.
Expo, inshallah.
And we're very excited also. We are putting so many ideas and plans, working with you guys and everybody, trying to bring in a new offers and new ideas, a new conference component and education. We do have only like 10, 15 minutes for Q&A. I will just dive into it right now, and I will start with Yassine Tabal, and he's asking, what are the principles of certifications? As some no Muslims are investing in halal certification, and some accreditation bodies in Muslims country accept, even if it is shahada. Jazakallah khair. So can you please elaborate on that?
I'm not sure. The question is not so clear, but in terms of if we're
what are the
asking about
principles of
our
certification? The first part of the question: what are the principles of certification? As some non-Muslims are investing in halal certification, and some accreditation bodies in Muslim countries accept it, even if it's shahada. Like if it's like he's saying, basically, some people just say, I swear it's halal, and some people do it in a proper way. So what are the
well,
real
when it comes to us, I would invite the questioner and everyone that's viewing to go on our website, and you're going to see the list of all our standards. There's actually a PDF that we've published that basically covers every single standard that we basically function by in every area of the industry. So I would invite you to go and look at that. If I start answering that question, like that'll just take up all
So
the Q&A.
we just lead them to HMA, hma.org, is it?
That's right, hmacanada.org.
HMAcanada.org.
hmacanada.org. Go in the section, what is halal? Click on that, and you're going to see resources. Going to resources, you're going to see a PDF there. That's basically our guide, right, as to how we go about determining something to be halal and what the standards are, what the practices are.
Okay, and there's another person, Sarion Nisa. Assalamu alaikum. How halal certification regulation are different from JAKIM Malaysia versus Indonesia Halal Authority certification? So how is that question should be addressed, I guess, to JAKIM, or would you be able to answer that?
Well, I haven't had so much experience with Indonesia. Yes, we did work with them back in 2008, 2009. We did get accreditation from MUI back in those days, Majlis Ulama Indonesia. But that was for a particular segment, and we didn't need to work with them after. And there's tremendous change that has happened over that decade. It's not the same anymore. What they're functioning by nowadays, I'm not so sure. I myself have not actively looked into it, but we are working with JAKIM, and pretty much our standards and JAKIM standards are the same, right? So
I think Indonesia, what I understood from Dr. Sapta, I remember Dr. Sapta, who came, our chief guest to the show, he explained that it's very similar standard to Malaysia, but I'm not sure.
I'm sure it would be, but I can't really answer that because I haven't looked into it.
No
but when it comes to JAKIM and HMA, they're pretty much identical. And that's why JAKIM, when they came here, they went ahead and accredited us. And pretty much HMA is the only accredited body by Malaysia in Canada.
Okay. So the other question is from Mr. Samir Khan. If a restaurant have a no HMA certified, and something I want to ask actually about that. If a restaurant have no HMA certified and they claim it is halal, and also they mentioned that they have HMA supplier. I think that same question I asked when we had a meeting before, and I think you'll know how to answer it easy this one, because so you understood. They're saying that the guy saying I have a chicken that is certified, let's say Mina Halal. He carries Mina Halal, but how is he like? Does that mean he's certified as a HMA restaurant?
Okay, so why would the HMA certification be required in an instance like that? Okay, the first thing is consistency of supply. There is no one vendor that can basically survive on one supplier. There's always going to be days where there's short, there's days where there's no delivery. You need to have multiple suppliers. So consistency of supply, even like with Sergeant Farms, right? You see the Sergeant Farms thing, little stand-up display that they put for the people that they supply, but they themselves say that they can't give a guarantee that this vendor is getting from them exclusively. So that's the first thing, consistency of supply. Yeah, I can have, it's like, you know, when I went back in the days, like literally behind my house, like it's walking distance, right? There was a meat shop that we used to get our meat from all the time. By that time, when I decided to become a bit more inquisitive, I decided to ask the worker there. The owner was basically a musalli at the masjid that I used to serve at. And I asked, can I just go in the freezers and just see what's there? And he allowed me, go ahead. So I went into the coolers and I saw, at least without any exaggeration, at least 25 to 30 boxes of chicken that's coming from a place where there's no halal that goes on. And I knew that because by that time, I know who's doing what in the industry. And on the other hand, they had Sergeant Farms just like 10 boxes. And all of this is being served to the customer. And I asked the worker, like, and he can't do anything. He just works there. He's not the one that's making the orders. But I told him that, brother, you know that this is not halal. Like, where'd you get this from? Right? Then I had to explain everything. And then this, yeah, okay, it's something that we can probably trust. So he goes, okay, I'll give you from here and I won't give you from there. Right? So yeah, so the thing is consistency of supply. How are you going to ensure that? The second thing is the ingredients that go into making the product. When it comes to checking every single item, because our thing is that we're not going to certify a restaurant partially. It's got to be everything or nothing. So in order to accomplish that, it sometimes takes a lot of time to go through each and every single thing to ensure that it's in compliance, right? It's been approved.
And
there's going to be
sometimes, yeah, and sometimes they use, like, I don't know if this is correct. If the place serves alcohol, for example, it cannot be halal certified restaurant.
Well, not by us. We're not going to certify it.
Yeah, I mean,
And
that's
and also the people that are now buying the materials, such as flour, a simple thing like flour, or
oil.
other materials, right?
What about oil?
Batter, a simple thing like batter. The ingredients that are on it, many times we don't even know how to pronounce some of the ingredients, let alone what they mean. So now there's only a few key ingredients that we've heard that, okay, you should look out for this, you should look out for this. But then when it comes to the nitty and gritty, going through every single thing, the average person won't be able to do that. And that's where the certification comes in, to ensure that it's not just about getting from Sergeant Farms. It's everything included, right? What's going into making that final product that's being served to you. And that's where in order for it to be 100% halal, you need a person that knows what's going into it to tell you, yeah, it's fine. It's something that you can be comfortable with. And the person that's actually making it, they themselves are not going to know nine times out of 10, because that's not their area of expertise. Yeah. Their area of expertise is to make the food, not to go into all the technical stuff behind it and tell you how it's made behind the scenes, all these ingredients and so forth.
And that's give us some answers to the next question by Edward Gutslave. He's saying, my company has had halal certification for 2 years. We sell halal and kosher vegetables, vegetable oil for cooking and frying to the food service industry and restaurant trade. Our certification imprinted on the packaging. We have never had a specific request from any customer to provide our halal certified all products. It seems that when customers demand halal, they specify that this is for meat products, but don't extend this specification to the media they cook it in. Can you explain why this difference exists? And to start with, I think you covered most of that, but he just wanted to know, from when he supplies, people question certain areas, even though he's using a kosher or halal vegetable oil.
It's a matter of consumer confidence, right? So you basically have to do something that's going to buy the confidence of the consumer. We can get 100 certificates right now. I can make up 100 right now, put it behind me on the wall. To the consumer, it doesn't really mean anything, right? Like what weight does that piece of paper hold? So basically what you need to do is, if we're targeting a particular segment of society, a particular type of clientele, how are we going to get their buy-in? What do we need to do to get that buy-in? And it's all about all a matter of confidence. So the only reason you're getting those questions is because they don't have that confidence, irrespective of what you put on the packaging.
Okay, and there's another question from Samir Khan, and I don't know if it's fair or not fair to answer that, because we don't know exactly each one how they operate. But if you can answer it in a way that they give it some more information to Samir Khan when he says, what are the other bodies HMA recommend for halal or for hand slaughter? Like, is there any other certification bodies that you recommend or you would say that they do? Uh, because I know that HMA and some, but I'm not sure exactly. I cannot speak for others that I don't know about. So would you say something for that for Mr. Samir Khan?
Well, we would recommend our partners, right? And here locally in Canada, we are official partners with HMCA, the Halal Monitoring. Uh, what's it called? It basically it's situated in Montreal. Sorry, the acronyms are just slipping my head. So, anyways, the name is
It's Montreal, yeah.
HMCA.
Montreal.
They're based in Montreal. They're owned by ISA, that's based in America.
Yeah.
We basically have formed a partnership with them for many years. And they basically are producing chicken, which is exactly the same as the way we do things. So HMCA is basically another certifier that I would endorse and vouch for, because again, we're official partners.
Okay, and I have another interesting question. People are getting intrigued by you and by what you're talking about HMA. So this brother is saying he wanted to know. His name is Nahir Patel, and he wanted to know what advice do you offer, Maulana, for the people who are interested in this certification um, bodies, and will it be possible to open or start a branch through you guys? Like you allow people to start a branch for HMA under your umbrella if they decide to do it in the HMA standard and offer certification under your supervision, I would believe. This will then help companies and eateries become certified across Canada. So he wanted to know the reach, and is it? I think you mentioned that you have clients in Alberta, but he wanted to know if you can be, like an agent or part of or open a branch.
I mean, it's something we can definitely explore, but HMA is national, right? We have 3 offices. One is in Scarborough, that's our head office. One is in Edmonton, one is in Calgary. And we were in the process of opening something in Vancouver when all of a sudden COVID hit, and all our plans have just been derailed. We are still actively in the process of opening up an office in Montreal, although things have just been stagnated. We just want this COVID-19 to move out of the way so we can continue, inshallah, moving forward with our plans. But these are our target areas. We're in 2 provinces in terms of our office presence, but our target going forward is to complete Montreal, which is in the making right now, get Vancouver up and running, and Saskatchewan. We've also targeted Saskatoon. So inshallah, that's pretty much the future of HMA, inshallah, in terms of getting that footprint in the country.
You guys are getting busier and busier every time. I think you'll not be able to even stay home now with so many branches opening in the future. So another gentleman, his name is Yasser Al Qayyam, is asking, we are a meat producer in Ontario, but we are challenged with many halal certification organizations that have different process and definition of halal certification. Basically, our challenge is we go with one organization, then we risk the situation where some customers require other organization certification with associated to cost with each organization. We are unable to register with all of them. Like, some customers say, oh, I want it to be HMA, I want it to be, let's say, ISNA, I want to be this. And the producer, sometimes he has to follow what the clients is asking. So that, and some of the customers tell us that there are mosques that they have to go to advise with a certification from a specific certification organization that they should not buy from or buy to. How do we deal with these situations? It's kind of interesting, yeah, because I feel like sometimes the producer falls into that trap that he has to uh, please or has to accommodate each venue or each
It
place that
is,
he applies to.
it is frustrating, but that's where you, I mean, look, these differences are going to continue to remain for the foreseeable future, right? This is where the producers got to do their homework. They've got to understand what the needs of their client is, right? What is it that they're demanding, rather than putting something out there and hoping to get the buy-in. So this is where the company, yes, it's going to take resources, but if you really want something to succeed, you have to understand your client well and what it is that they're demanding. And based on the feedback that you get, you go with the certification body that's going to please them.
Okay, here we go. Can you advise me what is the process opportunity for collaborating with Canada Business for Halal certification? My answer to that, uh, be part of Halal Expo. We have an agent in Pakistan that organize the companies to come here. Um, uh, and Pegasus exhibitions, and Mr. Tafsir Khan is our representative. And as far as collaborating, I think HMA is always open for negotiation and talk. Am I correct? I mean, you're always
Of
open.
course, we're ready to partner with anyone in the world that's going to advance the agenda of halal, inshallah. So yeah,
Alhamdulillah.
we're more than happy to sit down with you and see where this goes, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. So, and again, you just given your website, which is they can reach out directly. Halal is the only affiliated with eating or service as well. That's what the question we answered earlier. Is it they're asking if it's affiliated with just eating or is also with services?
Well, as we said, it basically spans across many different industries, but right now at the moment, its focus is on food at
Okay.
the moment.
I
But
think
don't think it's going to be
I
limited to that.
recognize the person who asked Naila Saeed. How are you, Naila? It was nice to see you. And then another question. I mean, we're running out of time, but let's see if we can take more questions. Are you okay with that, Sheikh?
I'm here at your service, inshallah. Don't worry
Okay.
about it.
How does HMA different from? We answered that question. How they're different because of the monitoring process. I think you mentioned, and
But
the
the two
activity.
key things, non-controversial standards and constant monitoring. Those
Perfect.
are the two key points of difference.
After how much time in Canada the halal audit is done in food industries? Like, what's the time that takes um, to audit or to, I guess, the monitor or to audit the auditing process of the halal industries? Like, what's, I guess that's a very general question, right? Do you think?
Yeah, that's a loaded question because it depends exactly what product or products you're looking at, right? Because if it's, say, for example, let's make this as simple as we can. If it's going to be meat products, it's just a matter of having a person there watching the slaughter and the processing. If it's going to be a processing facility, then it's going to be a matter of having a person watch the entire process from beginning to end. Now, how long that's going to be, that's going to vary, right? From company to company. Slaughter can be 1 hour, 2 hours, 8 hours. So as long as the process is going to be, you're going to have a person overlooking that. Now, when it comes to CPGs, again, now it goes down to the product range. Going through each and every single ingredient, which is what we do, verifying what they have submitted and what we have approved of. When we go inside that facility and looking at every single thing, we're looking for inconsistencies. And looking for those inconsistencies, you can be there for, I mean, the last one we did, it took us 4 hours. One we have to split in 2 days because it's too much to go through. But it all depends, right, on the amount of products you're looking at and what type of products you're looking at. So, and in terms of the frequency, you'll find that the frequency in meat-related products is much more than you will find in CPGs, because in CPGs, things are pretty much streamlined and so forth, right? There's not a lot of change that is going to happen, uh, typically speaking, in terms of processes and so forth. So frequencies are also going to be dictated by the level of risk there is for this company that is determined by the auditor of the halal certifying board. That how um, how tight of a leash do we, for lack of better terms,
Exactly.
how tight do we have to keep the leash?
So I mean, there's another interesting. Yassine is saying that let's make it all North American standard, and that's what he's hoping to see one day. You think this is happening one day?
That's a good aspiration. It's something that we've been trying to do since 2014. I will just give you this much good news that alhamdulillah, a number of bodies have signed off on a set of standards that pretty much everyone agrees to. That was done in 2014 and then it was revived in 2018. And that document is sitting there. It's a matter of not application. That's where we are trying to work out things. But the application phase requires resources. And at the moment, the people that you have working behind the scenes are super busy in other things as well. So it's not moving at the pace we would like it to. But at least, rest assured that big organizations have already signed off on a national standard for halal, at least for Canada, not for America, for Canada.
Alhamdulillah. Now, so many questions, Sheikh. I don't know if I can answer all of them. I think we're running out of time.
Tell them to come to the Halal Expo, and
exactly.
then I can answer every single question there, inshallah.
And also for the HMA members or HMA companies, certified companies, you have an opportunity there. I think it's a great opportunity that we have signed an agreement with you, the HMA, to give a special package to all the certified HMA to be part of the pavilion, which is going to be interesting. And I think Sheikh Omar or HMA is planning something nice for that pavilion that will attract a lot of buyers and attendees to that pavilion and to the Halal Expo in general. We are very excited to have you with us, Sheikh Omar. I think we soon gonna go back into the action and see more of you in person through Zoom.
Inshallah.
And inshallah that show will be a continuation of our efforts to elevate with you guys, with all these industry leaders, the halal standard, not only in Canada but beyond. Because as you mentioned, Canada is a great country, and we have opportunity there to make it go to the next level. And actually, the Ontario government and the federal government, I've spoken to them, and they're putting a strong focus on the halal industry in Canada. We can even export. We are a very strong country to even export halal food to not only to Canada and North America, but to the entire world. We have a great opportunity, and we will continue to service industry with you, with all the scholars and the partners that we work with. And thank you so much for this time, and I appreciate it. And you guys, and thank you to everybody who joined us today. And I apologize if we didn't take all the questions. We are running out of time. This subject takes many webinars to complete, but we will continue doing that, inshallah. We will do more of that and tell the show. Thank you very much and have a great day. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.